story when the news basically virtually edits a story to making it an utterance of a lie. To disparage someone would amount to something called slander, which would be a criminal charge if it's done in a criminal way and would be a civil charge if it's done in a civil way. Why am I using the word criminal? Because if someone says something that incites someone to have harm caused them and it's a criminal offense, they are a conspirator to that crime. So when the media intentionally goes and omits facts to turn up the base, what happens? Welcome, everybody. This is Stuart Brisgell. That's David Solomon. This is the Rant Network. It's uncensored conversation, not seltzered, censored, on a wide range of topics, dedicating to give you a place where we can express opinions that we have and that we get from all of you. They're ideas from a variety of perspectives and an honest opinion. Lately, it seems that our conversation since October the 8th has been all about the nonsensical behavior of the world around us, the amount of anti-Semitism. So join us as we dive into this pop culture, this political, and so much more about rants of absurdity, because it's absurd. Sit back and relax, everybody. So, David, when the media is complicit in violence in the street, are they or should they be held liable for their omissions, which are actions?
I'm going to correct you with one word.
Oh, was it seltzer?
It's not the word omissions, because they're not omitting anything. There's just lies.
Oh, wow. You're going deeper and darker on that one. Okay, listen. They're not omitting it, which would mean a soft thing that, oops, I left my keys in the car and I locked the car. No. David, could you explain further?
All right, so let me just get into a lot of what is going on here and the frustration that we have and why this rampant anti-Semitism, one of the causes for the rampant anti-Semitism, ladies and gentlemen, is that the media doesn't report what goes on between Israel and Hamas in a proper journalistic fashion. Now, let me explain. I worked 12 years in a newspaper, and I worked with several editors who kept telling me there is a journalistic integrity. Two sources for everything, proper sourcing, vetted sources. So when you hear the accounts that from Gaza, as reported by the most liberal, virulently hateful media, from MSNBC to BBC to CBC and the rest of them, it's unbelievable to what extent they're going to twist the truth or report the truth in such a way to continue to make Israel look worse than she is and make Hamas, a terrorist organization, better than. Now, let me give you an example, Stuart, of what I was talking about, because it really, this is one example that makes me ill. Vivian Silver was a peace activist, and she unfortunately was killed by Hamas and they found her after they thought she was kidnapped, but they found her remains absolutely burnt to a crisp. And they were fortunate enough from her DNA to figure out who she was. And on the left, you'll see the way CTV, a for-profit organization owned by Bell Corporation in Canada, how they reported it. She died. After the Hamas attack, she died. Now, Honest Reporting Canada is one of those, nonprofit organizations that chases the media and goes, excuse me, that's misleading. It's accurate in a way, but it's completely misleading because you then diminish Hamas's, guilt and responsibility. So after a little bit of poking and whatever, they changed it to murdered by Hamas. Stuart, this kind of reporting is gone on since October 7th, because I'll tell you what's happened. The media did have to finally say, yeah, this was pretty bad. Yeah, I guess this was a pretty bad thing. But how do we make sure we nail Israel when the time is right? So, for example, what could happen when the so-called rocket, the missile, hit the
Oh boy.
hospital? Yeah, we all remember that BS. Forget the governments. Media after media went after and said Israel killed 500 in rocket attack on hospital.
David, hang on a second. Hang on. But the one key fact that you didn't mention, Israel is a Western country with a democratic society that has followed the rules and laws of war, which are the 7 rules of war.
Principles, the 7 principles, yeah.
Well, they're rules, But the information this so-called media group of hate, like MSNBC, right, takes the word of a recognized terrorist organization called Hamas. Now, hang on a second. Freedom fighters is what you hear on MSNBC. But according to the U.S. State Department, Hamas is a terrorist organization, has been labeled terrorist organization. They are singly responsible for causing terror, harm, crime throughout the region. But again, who me? I don't have 12 years experience in the media business, David, like you. But does it take a rocket scientist to know that an editor or producer should check the credibility of the sources before going on there and making
but the problem is, Stuart, in the world of speed journalism today, you want to be first to a story, so it doesn't matter who you harm along the way. Oops, we could just deliver an apology, And the second part, Stuart, is agenda-based journalism, which you and I have talked about numerous times here on this rant network. But what I wanted to point out, the hypocrisy is that, for example, the BBC, oops, we slipped, we kind of misreported, oops, but the damage is done. Okay? But it goes even further. The Toronto Star took an ad from the Canadians for Justice and Peace in the Middle East, a notoriously anti-Israel organization, claimed that Israel killed at the time over 4,000 Palestinian children. Citing Amnesty International, that Israel is guilty of war crimes. Now, we know that we're Amnesty International, and the Toronto Star ran a full-page ad. They ran the ad. It was wonderful. Money. That's all they cared about. MSNBC brings on a Palestinian. He's an actor. He's a TikTok activist. He goes around. He's in every disaster zone. He should have been dead 18 times. Newsmax called him out and called out MSNBC, going, "What kind of crap are you doing?" Even the graphics when you're talking about what's going on is misleading. Al-Shifa Hospital, of which is the Palestinian headquarters. One of the headquarters. But Palestinians, the media was brought in. They brought in media with the Israeli forces just to prove how wrong the media is. And yet you hear the reticence in their voice going, yeah, but they killed Palestinians. Yeah, but look at all these injured people in the hallways.
Calling them Palestinians. Well, are they? They're mostly Egyptian.
No. I'm saying they're people who live in Gaza, I think, who are there in the hallways. You show the babies in incubators that don't work. Meanwhile, Israel's shuttling buses and trucks full of humanitarian aid. Oh. You've got on this side Israeli soldiers carrying incubators. But don't show them, please. Don't show, because then you put Israel in a good light. Stuart, the point I'm trying to get at is that the United States media, the Canadian media, the British media, all the Western media has one mission in mind, practically. Put Israel in the worst light so that hate can be enhanced. Now, it's not just the traditional media. How about university media? Okay, where you have, for example, this is like ridiculous, right? Professors quoting Al Jazeera, right? A really reliable, non-biased media house on the war. Yay, good for you. Concordia University's piece of trash called The Link, that all it does is says mainstream media failed Palestinian students. Again, let's go. Like, are you watching this? And then, of course, there's McGill, the trash McGill, whose student union is trying to pass another one of those fancy ass, statements condemning Israel. Again, 3 more articles and editorials where it's all about addressing pro-Hamas.
Okay, David, do you know how you take people down? You cut their money off. You cut their money off. So why are you still supporting these universities and colleges? Why are you sending your alma mater donations? Why are you not calling back any endowments? Why are you not publicly saying that? Well,
they are.
They
there
are.
Who
some are.
But Stuart,
some are.
But Stuart, this is not about universities. This is about the media being complicit with spreading lies.
Why don't we encourage people to cut the cord and cancel their subscriptions?
Here's the problem. Here is the problem. Okay, that's only. I mean, yes, I agree with you. This is part of the problem. Is that the media claims it's right. Jen Psaki and Rachel Maddow and the rest of the lunatics on MSNBC continue to spew Obama hate on their channel because that's what they're indoctrinated to do, and they really believe they're right.
Oh, which brings me to another statement that we're going to get to next week.
Which is?
I have a prediction to make.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
We're going to end up, I'd say 75% chance, with a new Democratic ticket.
Okay, Stuart, I love you, buddy, but how does this relate to the media?
Because the people that are going to be elected.
Let's get to the topic.
Yep.
They're not going to change the Constitution to help media. To change.
Nope. They're actually.
They're that.
They're actually going to
regardless of who's. More.
But anyways,
I doubt it.
Broke up a bit.
I
believe that we got more trouble coming to our White House soon. You just froze for a second, Dave. If the media doesn't get things straight, more people will die as a result here in America. MSNBC aired footage of pro-Hamas social media influencer. If the media doesn't get it right, we have to hold the media responsible. That's what everything you said just boils up to, David. And the politics around the media and being able to hold them accountable will end up being something out of the White House. All right, David. Sorry for cutting you off.
Sorry, having technical problems here, folks.
Well, all I can do is say, David,
Stuart,
cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I know it's okay. But what I was trying to get at here, and with this I wrap up because I seem to be having some technical problems here right now. The amazing thing, Stuart, and I know I've dominated most of this, but as someone who worked in media and heard for years journalistic ethics, journalism's dead. And with all due respect to anybody who tells me they know better than me about journalism, I doubt that quoting the Hamas health ministry for telling me how many deaths there are, or for quoting, listen to who you're quoting here. You fact check the Republicans, you fact check conservatives, you fact check the people that you hate. But if they're complicit with your lies and your agenda, you don't not only do not fact check them, you support them, you promote them. And this is exactly what's going on. What is, by the way, MSNBC, you know who they love to attack? Twitter. Elon Musk. He's no saint either. Don't get me wrong. X is ripe with problems. But isn't it nice to point the finger at somebody else and not at yourselves and say, what are we doing? The hate on campuses. I mean, by the way, do you know where the Washington Post put the article about the rally in Washington? Do you think it was front page, second page, third page? Nah, it was deep in their, and it was deep in their paper. They had no interest in promoting it. Okay, media after media after media. Listen.
Why would you want to promote a rally of 300,000+ people that are all for free the hostages when MSNBC and the likes of CNN want the hostages dead? They don't want them alive. They want them murdered, massacred, and mutilated so they can sell more airtime. I really believe that, David. I really, truly believe
Stuart,
that.
But here's the crazy thing with this. Here's the crazy thing. I want to wrap this up right here, okay? 240 people were kidnapped. A woman gave birth. Okay? They found one dead, and the woman gave birth. So now there's still 240 kidnapped hostages that get no airtime by MSNBC, no airtime by BBC, no airtime by CBC. The only thing they care about are Jews hurting Palestinians. 2 million Afghanis are being thrown out of Pakistan, okay, to go back to Afghanistan. And it's basically a death march. Not a peep. Not a peep from the media. Not a peep from the left. But not a peep from the media. You've got hundreds killed in Sudan. Not a peep from the media. And this is Muslim on Muslim. But here, we're talking about liberation. You know, we're talking about freeing people from terrorists. And Israel is guilty of war crimes perpetuated by the media. They love it. And to them, I say, you are the cause of anti-Semitism and hate as much as anybody else. And you should be taken off the air and cut off. But I wish it would be possible. But in this world today, that ain't going to happen. Stuart, I'm done.
Okay, guys, wrapping up. Thank you for joining in. Maybe next week we'll discuss how Michelle Obama ends up in the White House next week. And Joe Biden retires. But on that conspiracy note, everyone, message us, like us, share us, catch us on the downloads from our website that David spent weeks and weeks and weeks organizing and developing while I was off running around. David, I'd like to thank you for today's broadcast. Sorry for cutting you off.
No.
And I hope every single one of you really think about what we're actually talking about. Take the debate fun that we put here aside. Fact of the matter is, if you don't get both sides of the story, you don't know the truth. David, time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Wishing everybody a good weekend. And we hope for peace and quiet very soon.